spring onion is so fresh. It works so good with
Yeah.
salmon. And then we have
Okay.
yuzu, which is
Uh-huh.
a Japanese special citrus, which is also so good. It's very nice and fresh.
I think you got me on the spring onion.
Perfect.
So I think I'm gonna go for what do you call this?
Hitopap.
Hitopap. Okay, I think I can name my next pet. You know,
Yeah.
only if I could get a little birdie or a fish or a puppy.
Oh.
Hitopap. What does it mean? Which origin? What
So,
origin is this?
means rice.
Pup. Okay.
Mm.
In what language?
In Korean.
Okay. 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 So I think I've made up my mind, and let's see how that goes.
Perfect. I'll make it for you.
Thank you so much. But I'm also intrigued to know a bit about your journey. Like you're Swedish, right?
Yeah, I'm Swedish and Chilean.
Chilean, really?
Yeah.
And tell me a bit more about your background.
So I'm born in Sweden,
Okay.
and I have a Chilean mom
Okay.
and a Swedish dad.
Okay. I mean, as much as I'm intrigued to go to Chile with you, I mean, metaphorically and actually, if you invite me,
100%.
and then maybe make some local dishes for me,
Def-
tell me a bit more about your journey as a chef.
I would say it started when I was about 6 years old, when I really got interested in actually helping my mom and my dad make the breakfast. So I started making with them, and my mom taught me a lot. That's
like,
how it
like
got.
what? What is the first thing you learned from your mom?
Scrambled eggs.
Basic.
Yeah,
Nice.
very basic. And then she learned me how to do a grilled cheese on the stove. And then from out there, it's just escalated.
Paint a picture for me as a young Philip in that kitchen. What happened the first time you made something with your mom and it just clicked with you?
It was very easy because I always watched my mom cook. So when I tried to make it, I just made exactly as she did. And I actually could smell when it was done. It was almost like an instinct.
So, how old were you when you decided that you want to go in culinary?
8 years old.
8 years
Yeah.
old. See, that's where most decisions happen.
Mhm.
I have no idea what I was thinking when I was 8 years old.
Playing with rocks.
Or dolls,
Uh-huh.
or rocks, or anything that I'm not supposed to play with. I'm sure scissors. But did you ever feel that, no, this is not for me? I just want to go in a different direction?
It is very hard being a chef because there's a lot of long hours and not all the guests are satisfied. So I guess when people are not satisfied and start like complaining about the food, I guess it gets hard, but I never let it go to me because I know that I am good.
How does one become a chef?
Start making food at home, and if you really find that interest in it and you find joy when people eat food, I think you already are a chef.
What happens when someone does not like your food?
I accept it, and then I make it over so they can actually like it.
Do you go in the back to cry?
No, maybe
Are you sure?
sometimes, sometimes maybe,
See,
but it's all good.
That's honest, and that's honest. And I think even cooking is an art.
Definitely, I express myself through cooking.
Yeah, I mean that's your creativity.
It is.
And in that case, what's your inspiration?
I would say it comes from different platforms. Definitely, social media is one, but also trying to make something that I like that other people can also like, because I want people to like all culture and food from all cultures. So I try to express different foods from cultures by making food from them.
Okay, so let's go back to the first day when I came to your restaurant, Kimchi, and you were there, you received me. But the reception was quite different because you understood me as a customer who's Muslim. And I think one very distinct feature of the Muslim society is the food that they consume. And you were quite aware of what I would like, what I would not like, what is the kind of meat I would like. Where did all that knowledge come from?
I guess I would say it's probably from different ethnicities that I've got to know a lot of people through cooking and also through a lot of different social interactions. I went to church when I was little, and there were actually a bunch of Muslims there that they didn't eat pig, for example, and that's like the first encounter. But after that, it was a lot of different people I was working with that I got to know a lot of different stuff from them.
May I also mention that after my first visit, you actually introduced halal chicken in the restaurant. I mean, thank you for that.
I I mean it's for me it's so clear that I should do it because there's a lot of Muslims here, and I want everyone to be able to eat here. So I think it was definitely like clear as sun.
Well, I think that means a lot. And I think these are tiny initiatives that really bring communities together.
I wanted to work in a church and do a bit of community service, and then it escalated. So after the school, I started working in the cafe, and then I started to work in the kitchen with him, and I got to know a lot of Italian cooking and a lot of coffee, and I got to learn that, oh, this is actually fun. Even though it's for free, it's actually very fun because I see people enjoy my food.
I see. And how long did you work in that church, and then what happened after that?
I worked for almost 2 years, and I got a job at 15 in an Italian restaurant, which was very fun.
Is it true that Italian chefs get very angry if you ask for salt or if you ask for ketchup?
Yup, definitely. It's a traumatic experience for real.
Do you resonate with that for their culture?
I would say that if you need ketchup for their food, I would say that the food maybe isn't very well salted or very well sweetened, because ketchup is very acidic and sweet. So I think maybe the chef needs to take into consideration to salt it more, or maybe put some more sweetness or more acidity.
But don't you think that has nothing to do with the food, and maybe that has to do with the palate of the eater, because they might carry, this disease of only eating spicy food, and it works for me coming to your restaurant, but for some people they just have to ask for Tabasco or ketchup.
I can resonate with spicy food because I really love spicy food. Even if it's pasta, I think I need some chili flakes at least.
What is Chilean food like?
There's a lot of bread, a
Okay.
lot of rice, a lot of potatoes. Yeah, there's carbs on carbs, and then you have like tons of meat.
This also reminds me of the cuisine type in Pakistan. It's highly it's filled with a lot of spices, a lot of sodium, salt. When it comes to desserts, it's high sugar foods. But at the same time, there's a lot of use of oil for the sake of garnishing, and there's a very low level of exercise as an activity. So obesity and health issues and heart disease are very common in Pakistan because of our food, but then that food is also one of the main attractions of our culture. So what's like the main distinct attraction of the food in your culture?
I would say it's probably like there's a lot of fat. The sauces are really good, but there's very fresh food with all the fats, wheat, rice, and rice at the same time, together with meats. But I think this probably the vegetables are so fresh that it kind of cuts it down. We use a lot of acidity in our salads. Our salads are super fresh.
I see. Now you've worked in an Italian kitchen, and now you're working in a kitchen that serves Korean food. What are the differences that you can clearly see in the cooking styles apart from the spices, of course?
I think there's a lot more fermentation and natural tastes from the fresh and the old fermented vegetables in Korean kitchen. Italian is very based off all the fresh ingredients, and you make everything all the time. Pasta needs to be done ahead of time, but the tomatoes are so fresh you want to taste all the tomatoes. It's a lot of natural tastes in Italian food, while Korean food is more about the perfect balance of all the fermentation, the fresh rice, the very well marinated beef. It's a lot of perfect harmony in Korean food, I would say.
Well, I am, of course, salivating as we speak because all these terminologies, they have a very positive effect on me. Maybe that's a feature of being a foodie. And I have some questions. Excuse my ignorance, but you spoke of French onion, right? Now the thing is that okay, when it comes to fish, we have a distinct flavor called umami. I learned about these things in a free Audible book that I was signed up to, and that was wisdom. That was pure wisdom. It tells you what exactly you're eating, but I won't dare give onion the title of being umami or salt. I mean, the onion has its own personality. What do you think? Like if you say onion, what flavor would you define it as?
Probably the perfect flavor enhancer. I would say that it is definitely a part of umami. It has the sweetness that kind of gives the food the rice that it needs.
Yeah, I mean, I think onion. So I think it deserves a separate seat on the table. I don't know why. I'm just too passionate about French onions. I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel. I think they don't get the respect that they deserve. How do you feel about that?
I think that French onion is a lot of butter, a lot of salt, a lot of sugar, and it's cooked down to a perfect amount. So it definitely has caramelization,
Yeah.
which is basically umami.
Uh-huh.
It gives off an extinct flavor, which is why people love French onion soup. And I do get you, totally do.
Yeah, and I think French onion goes very well with cheese.
It does. It is the perfect combination.
Exactly. What other combinations do you find really distinct and your favorite?
I would say probably like lime and something spicy.
Okay, lime with chili,
Perfect.
and where do you apply these flavors?
All the fruits that exist.
The fruits. So if I cut a piece of mango, and if I put some lemon on it, and I put chili flakes on it, is is that what you're serving me today?
Definitely. It is so good.
Oh my god. Okay, and what about pure boiled vegetables? What about a potato? If I boil a potato, what should I put on it?
Salt, butter. Definitely. It is a must.
A little bit of parsley.
Definitely. Why not? Give it some fresh green.
I think I can apply for a job at your place.
The perfect foodie.
You're inspiring me, and my brain's working. Speaking of which, I mean, you're the boss of this place,
Yeah.
right? And you're from Chile.
Yeah.
So, are you telling me that you started a diversity program and signed up?
Maybe I will in the future.
I think I should do that too. I'm an entrepreneur, so I think I'm gonna start my business. But before that, I'm gonna start a diversity and inclusion program, and then become the boss of my own business. Yeah. So. That's what's happening around the world.
Yeah, I mean, I want to include all different ethnicities. It's fun.
Starting from yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's what you need to do if you need to enter anywhere. You need to sign up for the diversity inclusion program. Here, everybody, even if it's your own place. But coming back to more important global issues, food. Now, I want to understand, how do you prepare a recipe? What goes into preparing a recipe?
First of all, you have to think of what ingredient you want.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say we start with something with rice. First of all, I always think, what can rice be in all different forms? So let's say I want something sweet because we have a lot of salty on the menu.
Okay.
Then I would probably think, okay, what can rice go with? What is good with rice? And I try a lot of different pairings.
Okay.
And I literally think of everything I can get on my mind. If I have a blank in my head and I cannot think of anything, I always watch social media just for inspiration, and then I go from there.
Do you watch a lot of tasty videos?
Not a lot, but I do watch them.
But you do. But do you know that many times whatever they're telling, it's not true? I mean, if you even prepare the exact recipe, that does not turn out that way. I mean, not that I've tried, but I just feel it.
You're right.
You know?
They don't do the whole recipe. And the recipe is very, I guess I can call it white.
Oh my god, you just opened another Pandora box. What's a white recipe?
Not enough seasonings.
Well, I think with all the stolen cultures from across the world, if they would have stolen some recipes, I think maybe people would have been served better back in their own countries. But speaking of which, I think I shared with you that I was in Rwanda recently. And when you go to a different country, especially in the global south, you look forward to experience something out of ordinary. You want to experience something um, that does not exist in your own universe, right? But when you go there, you see everything European, and you just went there from a European country. So it's like you just never left. You're just there. It's just different people, different landscape, but the exact same thing. And it just triggers a sense of anger in you, even if you have nothing to do with that country. How do you feel about that coming from Chile?
I think it's very interesting because I think a lot of colonizations have definitely changed how Europe is in a lot of different countries as well. Definitely from Africa, well, there was a lot of colonization. I think people still know what European food is, and I think it's very attractive to them.
What's your favorite cuisine?
I would like to say Chilean.
No, that come on, that's too basic. You have to travel a little.
Indian, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. I like that answer because Indian food is good and it's very close to my food, which is Pakistani food. So, what about Indian food? What do you like the most?
Biryani, chicken biryani.
You said that in such a Pakistani accent. For a second, I thought you were Pathan from the north of Pakistan. Say that again.
Chicken biryani.
No, the way you said it. Say it again. Say it again.
Biryani.
Oh my God, Philip. You said, how did you say that in such perfect
I
accent?
don't know.
And you said it in such a Punjabi accent, you know. You see, we have like different dialects in Pakistan. You look like someone from the north, but you spoke biryani by someone who could be from the south, where I'm from, you know, like biryani. I like that. Nice. So, do you have a lot of South Asian friends?
I don't. There is not a lot of them here in Sweden.
Okay.
I would say there's a lot of Indian people, but Pakistani is not a lot. Really not.
Well, you do have one Pakistani friend,
Yeah, one.
just one.
Mhm.
I think she's heavy on.
Yeah, she counts as 5.
Absolutely. So, a little bit about your plans. I mean, right now you're running this amazing Korean kitchen, and I love coming here and eating everything that you have designed. But what are your future plans?
My future plans is definitely continuing on the different countries and different ethnicities, and probably like representing the food from different like countries.
And tell me, how old are you?
I'm 21.
Oh my god. I knew that, but I want everyone who's listening to know that even at the age of 21 you can have this much clarity about what you want to do. You can say something as a joke when you're 8 years old, and then at the age of 21 you're actually doing that. I like that.
You have to find your passion, but it's not hard. It's not easy. You have to start trying first, even though it's scary. It's definitely worth it.
Hmm. And my last question. What are you having for dinner tonight?
Chicken and rice, definitely. Chilean style.
Okay, but I'm having what? Hodipap.
Hitopop.
Hitapap. Hitap. Okay, I just added the pop just to give it a little pop. You see, let me know if there's an opening at your place for a job, because I think I'm picking up on all the vibe. I can't cook, but I can just sit on the side and talk about food, which
Sounds
might
good.
help.
Sounds
You know,
perfect.
you need inspiration.
Perfect service.
Thank you so much. I love this conversation, and you'll keep having me over here.
Definitely. Just come here.
Thank you. And we need to have a biryani. How do you say it again? Say it once more.
Biryani.
Huh?
Biryani.
Again?
Biryani.
Oh my god, I love this. I love this. I love how you say biryani. Keep saying that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.